The night was heavy with silence, but her heart was louder than thunder. She walked alone through the forest, her giant footsteps sinking into the wet ground. Her body was taller, broader, stronger than anyone in her tribe. To her, this size was a curse, not a blessing. Every word from her people echoed in her ears. She's too big. No male will take her. She's not breeding material. The cruel whispers stabbed her soul. Even children laughed at her shadow when it fell across the village. She carried heavy logs, lifted stones, and worked harder than all others, but still, no one looked at her with kindness. She had strength, but she had no worth. At least that's what they told her. That evening, as the tribe feasted around the fire, she sat in the dark corner, away from the light. Some hunters saw her and mocked openly. "Look at her," one said, biting into roasted meat. "She could break a wall, but she cannot make a child," another laughed. The laughter grew. Her chest burned with shame. She stood, her hands trembling, and left without a word. She walked into the night, deeper into the forest, her breath sharp and broken. She told herself she would never cry. Giants don't cry. But the tears came anyway, rolling down her broad cheeks, falling into the dirt. Alone, she whispered into the empty darkness, "My body is too big. I am nothing." But the forest was not empty. A sound broke the silence. A twig snapped. She froze, her golden eyes narrowing. Someone was watching. She turned her head slowly, her muscles tense, ready to defend herself. From the shadows, a figure stepped out, small compared to her size, yet bold in his stride. His skin was pale under the moonlight, his hair dark, his eyes sharp and calm. It was a human. Her heart raced. The tribe had always warned her about humans. They are dangerous. They are clever. They see us as beasts. Fear should have made her run. Anger should have made her fight. Instead, she stood frozen. The human raised his hand, not with a weapon, but with peace. "I'm not here to harm you," he said softly. His voice was steady, warm, but cautious. She narrowed her eyes. "Why follow me?" Her voice shook. "Do you want to laugh too? Do you want to call me monster?" The human's brow furrowed. "Why would I laugh? You're crying." Her breath caught. No one ever cared about her tears. She quickly wiped her face with the back of her hand, ashamed. "Leave," she whispered harshly. "I don't need you." But the human didn't leave. He took a slow step forward, then another, like a man walking near fire, careful but unafraid. "You're not a monster," he said. "You look strong." His words were simple, but they cut through her sorrow like light in darkness. Strong, not useless, not unworthy, strong. She turned away, embarrassed. "You don't understand. My people say I am too big. I cannot be a mother. I am not breeding material." The last words broke her voice, heavy with pain. The human's eyes softened. He saw her shaking shoulders, her clenched fists, her loneliness as deep as the night around them. He had seen soldiers on battlefields, brave warriors who broke down when no one was watching. But this giant woman crying alone was different. "I understand more than you think," he said gently. "You believe what they tell you. But I see something else." Her chest tightened. She dared to look back at him, her eyes glowing in the moonlight. "What do you see?" she asked in a trembling whisper. He stepped closer now, close enough that she could see the lines of his face. "I see someone who carries pain heavier than stone. I see someone who is more human than anyone who mocked you. And I see someone who is not alone tonight." The forest fell silent again, but the silence felt different. For the first time in years, her heart slowed. For the first time, she was not only a giant. She was seen. Yet inside her mind, the doubt still fought. Could this human truly mean his words? Or was this another cruel trick? Another wound waiting to tear open? She didn't know. But she could not look away from him. And as the night deepened and the stars watched silently from above, one truth became clear. This meeting was not an accident. It was the beginning of something the universe itself had planned. Something neither the outcast giant nor the lone human could yet understand. The forest held its breath that night. The giant woman stood with her fists clenched, her heart torn between anger and fear. A human stood before her, smaller than her by more than half her height, yet his calmness unsettled her. He didn't run. He didn't mock. He stayed. She had heard so many stories about humans from her tribe. They were called dangerous thieves, tricksters who could charm you with words and then stab you in the back. She should have chased him away or crushed him under her strength. But something in his eyes stopped her. His gaze wasn't cruel. It wasn't even curious. It was steady, almost gentle. "Why do you look at me like that?" she demanded, her deep voice trembling. The human tilted his head. "Like what?" "Like I'm not broken." Her voice cracked at the last word. She hated herself for saying it, but the truth forced itself out. The man took a slow step closer. She stepped back instantly, her heel crushing a rock into dust. His courage was shocking. No man from her tribe would ever walk near her tears. "You're not broken," he said. "You're just hurt." The giant woman's chest tightened. She wanted to shout at him, to scare him away so he would never see her weakness again, but her throat closed and the words died before they left her lips. For a long time, silence ruled the clearing. Only the crackle of insects and the far-off call of night beasts filled the air. She turned her back, hoping the human would take the hint and leave. Yet his voice returned, low and calm. "What's your name?" She stiffened. No one asked her name unless it was to mock her. "Why do you care?" "Because if I'm speaking to you," he replied, "I'd rather not call you giant or monster." She blinked, surprised. Slowly she said, "Kara." The man nodded. "Kara." He let her name rest on his tongue as if it was precious. "I'm Daniel." The sound of his name struck her strangely. Daniel. Simple, firm. A human name, but one she would not forget. She risked a glance at him. His frame was small compared to hers. His arms looked thin, but there was toughness in his stance. The kind of toughness not born from muscle, but from will. He had no weapon in his hand. "Just courage, Daniel," she repeated softly. The word rolled awkwardly off her tongue. "Yes," he said with a faint smile. "And now, Kara, tell me, why do you believe them?" Her chest tightened. "Because it is the truth. My body is too big. My womb cannot carry life. I will never give children to a mate. The tribe says I am cursed." Daniel shook his head. "A curse is only a word someone made up to control you." Her eyes flashed with sudden fire. "Easy for you to say, human. You don't know what it is like to be judged by your own blood, to be unwanted by your people. You don't know the shame." Daniel didn't move. He let her anger pour out, let her voice roar through the trees. When she finished, panting, her shoulders heaving, he answered quietly, "You're wrong." "I do know," she frowned, confused. "How?" "I fought in a war," he said, his gaze turning distant. "I was smaller than the others. Weaker, they said. My commanders told me I wasn't soldier material. They mocked me until I bled inside. But I didn't stop fighting, and one day I saved lives they thought I couldn't." Kara's breath slowed. His words cut through her like lightning, opening a wound she didn't know could heal. Could it be true? Could weakness be a lie? Daniel looked at her again. "Your size doesn't make you useless. It makes you different. And maybe different is exactly what the world needs." For the first time, her lips trembled into something close to a smile, though it quickly vanished. She didn't dare believe. Suddenly, the forest cracked with new sounds, branches snapping, footsteps, harsh voices. Kara's blood ran cold. The hunters from her tribe. They must have followed her trail. "Find the giant," one voice snarled. "She shamed us before the feast. We'll drag her back." Her heart pounded. If they saw her with a human, it would be worse. They would hurt him just to prove their cruelty. She spun to Daniel. "Go! Leave now before they find you." But Daniel shook his head. "I'm not leaving you." "You don't understand," she hissed. "They will kill you," his jaw tightened. "Then let them try." Kara's eyes widened. For the first time in her life, someone chose to stand beside her, even in danger. The hunters' voices grew louder, closer. The choice was clear: run, fight, or be broken forever. Kara's giant hand trembled as she looked down at the human who refused to run. The night was no longer silent. It was filled with the sound of fate rushing closer. The night air grew sharp with tension. Kara could hear the hunters moving fast through the trees, their boots crushing leaves, their voices rising with cruel laughter. They weren't just searching for her, they wanted to humiliate her. They wanted to drag her back to the tribe like an animal. Daniel stood at her side, his figure small against her towering frame, but his presence steady. He didn't hold a spear, he didn't wear armor, but his refusal to leave made her heart tremble in a way no blade could. "They are close," Kara whispered, her voice tight with fear. "If they see you, they will kill you." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Then they'll have to go through me first." Kara stared down at him in disbelief. She had spent her entire life believing no one would ever stand with her, not even for a moment. And here was a human, an outsider, risking his life without hesitation. But the hunters were nearly upon them. Kara could smell the oil on their weapons, hear the growl of their voices, her muscles tensed, ready for the fight she had always tried to avoid. "Kara," one hunter's voice cut through the trees. "Come out, giant. You think you can run? You belong to us." Her hands curled into fists. Every insult, every cruel laugh from the past boiled inside her chest. She had been silent too long. Tonight, something in her wanted to break. Daniel's hand brushed against her arm. Tiny compared to her size, but grounding. "Don't give them your fear," he whispered. "Give them your strength." The word struck deep. Strength, that word again. Not monster. Not curse. Strength. The first hunter appeared through the trees, torchlight glowing on his scarred face. His eyes widened when he saw her towering form standing in the clearing. Behind him, 3 more figures followed, spears in hand. "There she is," the leader sneered. His gaze shifted to Daniel. "And what's this? A pet human?" He laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Even humans wouldn't want a beast like you, Kara." Kara's blood boiled. She opened her mouth to speak, but Daniel's voice cut across the night. "Careful," Daniel said coldly. "You mock her, but she's worth 10 of you." The hunters barked with laughter. "Listen to it," one said, pointing. "The little human thinks the beast can be loved." The words stabbed deep into Kara's heart, but Daniel didn't flinch. He stepped forward, placing himself between her and the hunters. His courage shocked even the hunters, who paused for a heartbeat. "Leave her," Daniel demanded. "She owes you nothing," the leader sneered. "And if we don't?" Daniel's eyes hardened. "Then you'll learn what it means to fight someone with nothing left to lose." Kara's chest tightened. She had seen brave men in her tribe before, but their bravery was built on pride, on showing off their strength. This man's bravery was different. It was quiet. It was steady. It was for her. The hunters didn't wait any longer. One rushed forward, spear aimed at Daniel. Kara's instincts exploded. She moved faster than thought, her giant hand grabbing the spear mid-thrust, snapping it like a twig. The hunter stumbled back, fear flashing across his face. "Stay away from him," Kara growled, her voice deep as thunder. The hunters hesitated now, their confidence shaken. They had mocked her all their lives, but never had they seen her stand tall like this. Never had they seen her protect something she valued. Daniel looked up at her, a spark of pride in his eyes. "That's it, Kara, show them who you are." The hunters regrouped, anger burning in their faces. "She thinks she's strong because of one human," the leader snarled. "We'll break them both." But Kara no longer felt small inside. Her fear was still there, but Daniel's words echoed in her chest. Strength. Worth. Not alone. She stepped forward, her massive frame towering over them. "I am Kara," she declared. "I am not a curse. I am not your beast. I will not be your shame." The hunters faltered. For the first time, her voice carried power, not sorrow. The leader spat, but there was doubt in his eyes. "This isn't over," he hissed. He signaled to the others, and slowly they backed away into the forest, leaving threats behind but carrying fear they had never known before. When the last of their torchlight faded, Kara sank to her knees, trembling. She couldn't believe what she had done. She had faced them, she had spoken, and she hadn't done it alone. Daniel stepped closer, placing his hand gently on her arm. "You see? You're not broken. You're more alive than any of them." Kara's chest ached. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were different. Not shame, not pain. Something warmer. She looked at Daniel. Really looked at him, and for the first time, a dangerous thought entered her mind. Maybe she was not unworthy of love. And as the stars shifted overhead, Kara realized the world was changing. Tonight was only the beginning. The night felt longer than any Kara had ever known. After the hunters vanished into the darkness, she remained on her knees, trembling. Her giant hands were still shaking from snapping the spear. The echo of her own words, "I am not your beast," rang inside her chest. She had never spoken to them like that before. Daniel stayed close, his presence like a fire in the cold. He didn't gloat, didn't look afraid, didn't treat her as a monster. He simply stood near her, steady as a stone. "You stood against them," Daniel said quietly. "Not because of me, because of you." Kara lowered her gaze. "No. If you weren't here, I would have hidden like always." "Maybe," Daniel replied, "but tonight proves something. You're not as powerless as they made you believe." Kara's throat tightened. She had heard 1,000 cruel words in her life, yet this one human's voice seemed to carry the weight of truth. "Still still, her fear wasn't gone. They will return, she said. The tribe always punishes. They will not forgive me for standing tall. Then you can't stay here, Daniel answered. He looked around the forest, then back at her. Come with me. I'll take you to my shelter. Kara froze. Go with him? Trust a human she had only just met? The idea was madness. Yet when she imagined returning to the tribe, hearing their laughter, feeling their claws of shame, her stomach turned. Her golden eyes studied Daniel. He was so small compared to her, fragile, she thought. But when the hunters threatened, he hadn't flinched. He had faced them without a weapon. That kind of courage was not weakness. Slowly, Kara nodded. Show me. They walked through the forest, the ground shaking under Kara's heavy steps. Daniel guided her carefully, pointing out roots and dips in the earth. It surprised her. No one had ever cared if she stumbled before. At last, they reached a hidden cave at the edge of a cliff. Inside, it was warm with a small fire, supplies neatly arranged. A place of survival, but also of peace. This is where I stay, Daniel said, setting down his pack. It's not much, but it's safe. Kara ducked low to enter, her body almost filling the cave. She sat awkwardly near the fire, her massive knees drawn up. Safe, she whispered as if testing the word. For a moment, neither spoke. The fire cracked softly, shadows dancing on the stone walls. Then Daniel broke the silence. You said your tribe calls you unfit, he said. Why do you still stay with them? Kara stared into the flames. Because I have nowhere else. I thought if I stayed, if I worked hard enough, maybe they would accept me. Maybe one day they would stop calling me cursed. Daniel's expression darkened. Kara, they don't deserve you. Anyone who needs you to suffer just to accept you is not your family. Her chest ached at his words. No one had ever dared speak against her tribe. She lifted her eyes to him. Then what am I if not theirs? Daniel hesitated, then said softly, Maybe you're mine. Kara's breath caught. She wasn't sure if she heard him right. His eyes burned with quiet sincerity, but his words. No one had ever claimed her before. Not as a mate, not even as a friend, her voice trembled. You would claim me? Even when I am too big? Even when I cannot? Give you children? Daniel leaned forward. His hand, small but steady, reached out and touched her wrist. The touch was light, almost nothing against her skin, but it sent fire racing through her chest. Kara, he said, you don't understand. Love isn't measured in size or children. Love is choice. And tonight I choose you. Kara's heart pounded so hard she thought the cave walls might hear it. She wanted to believe him, wanted to drown in the warmth of his words. Yet the weight of years of rejection still chained her. You are only saying this because I saved you, she whispered. When the danger is gone, so will you. Daniel's gaze didn't waver. I didn't stay because you saved me. I stayed because I saw you. Not the giant. Not the curse, you. Silence filled the cave again, but this silence was heavy with something new. Not shame, not fear. Something that pulled Kara closer to him. Something dangerous and tender all at once. Outside, the wind howled against the cliff, but inside, Kara felt a strange warmth for the first time in her life. She looked at Daniel, her golden eyes soft now, not fierce. If I believe you, if I trust you, then everything will change. Daniel nodded. Yes, but maybe that's what you need. Kara's breath shuddered. For the first time in her life, change didn't feel like terror. It felt like hope. And as the firelight flickered across their faces, the giant outcast and the lone human realized that fate had already begun to weave them together. The cave fire burned low, its smoke curling into the night air. Kara sat with her knees pulled close, her golden eyes staring into the flames. Daniel slept nearby, his body wrapped in a rough blanket, his breathing steady. She should have felt at peace. For the first time, she was not alone. For the first time, someone had chosen her. But her heart was restless. The tribe would not forget her defiance. They would not forgive her for standing tall in front of them. And they would not ignore a human siding with a giant outcast. When Daniel stirred, his eyes opened to see her still awake. You didn't sleep? He asked quietly. Kara shook her head. I can't. They will come for me. And they will kill you. Daniel sat up, rubbing his eyes. Then let them try. I told you before, I'm not leaving. Kara's chest tightened. His words were firm, but she saw how small he was compared to her. His skin could be torn with a single blade, his bones broken with one strike. Yet he spoke like he feared nothing. You are a fool, she whispered, though her voice carried no anger. Maybe, Daniel admitted with a faint smile. But I'd rather be a fool who stands with you than a coward who runs. Kara's breath caught. The warmth that had begun in her chest the night before burned stronger now. She looked at him and saw not weakness but a strength she could not name. Before she could answer, the sharp cry of a horn pierced the night. Her body stiffened instantly. The hunters. Daniel jumped to his feet, grabbing his pack. They found us. Kara rose, her head brushing the cave ceiling. We can't fight them all. Then we run, Daniel said. They rushed out into the cold night, the horn sounding again behind them. Torches flickered in the distance, voices shouting her name. The tribe had brought more this time. Not 4 hunters, dozens. Kara's legs carried them fast through the forest, but even with her size, the shouts drew closer. She cursed under her breath. They will not stop. They will chase until I am broken. Daniel grabbed her hand. His fingers were so small against her, yet the touch filled her with fire. Then we don't stop either. Branches whipped at their faces as they pushed deeper into the woods. Kara could feel the ground shake with her own heavy steps, easy to track. She hated her size in that moment, hated how she could never hide. At last, Daniel pulled her toward a narrow gorge, a place where the rocks formed a sharp path down. Here, he shouted. Kara looked at the thin trail. It was dangerous. One wrong step and they would fall. But behind them, the hunters' torches glowed brighter. Trust me, Daniel called. She hesitated only a second before nodding. Together they descended into the gorge. Her feet slipped on the rocks, but Daniel's steady hand guided her. For once, she let herself lean on someone else. The hunters reached the cliff above just as Kara and Daniel disappeared into the shadows. Angry voices echoed down, "Find them!" They cannot escape. The gorge was dark, the air damp with mist. They pressed forward, the path narrowing until they found a small hollow between 2 stones. Daniel pushed her inside, their bodies close in the tight space. Kara could hear his heart beating fast, feel his breath against her skin. For a moment, time froze. The hunters' voices echoed above, but inside the hollow the world shrank to just the 2 of them. Daniel's whisper brushed her ear. You're safe. I'll keep you safe. Her chest burned with emotions she could not name. No one had ever promised her safety before. No one had ever cared if she lived or died. Yet here was this human risking everything. She lowered her gaze, her lips trembling. Why do you fight for me, Daniel? You owe me nothing. Daniel looked up at her, his eyes steady even in the darkness. Because I see you, Kara, not a curse, not a beast. You. And I won't let them take you away. Her heart pounded harder than any battle drum. For the first time, she let herself believe. Maybe she wasn't too big for love. Maybe she wasn't too broken. Maybe, just maybe, she was worthy. Above them, the hunters' shouts grew distant as they searched the wrong side of the gorge. The danger wasn't gone, but for now, the night was theirs. Kara leaned back against the stone, her massive frame trembling less. Daniel stayed close, his warmth steady against the cold. In the silence, Kara whispered words she never thought she'd say. If this is a curse, Daniel, then let me be cursed forever. And Daniel, without hesitation, reached for her hand again. Morning crept into the gorge, pale light slipping between the stone walls. Kara sat awake, her broad shoulders hunched, her golden eyes fixed on the shadows above. She had not closed her eyes all night. Sleep felt impossible when danger breathed so close. Daniel stirred beside her, blinking away his weariness. He looked up at Kara and saw the dark circles beneath her eyes. You didn't rest. She shook her head. I cannot. The hunters are still searching. If they find us, I will not let them harm you. Daniel leaned forward. You're not alone anymore, Kara. You don't have to carry this by yourself. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came. She wanted to believe him. Yet her heart still carried the weight of years of rejection. Before she could answer, the distant sound of horns shattered the quiet. This time it wasn't 1 or 2, it was many. The tribe had gathered more than hunters. They were calling warriors. Kara's chest tightened. They will burn the forest if they must. They will not stop until I am taken. Daniel stood, his eyes fierce. Then we make our stand before they reach us. Kara blinked, stunned. You want to fight them all? You are only one man, Daniel's jaw set. And you are Kara, who broke a spear like a twig and made them tremble. Together maybe we are enough. His certainty shook her. She had always seen herself as a shadow, an outcast, a curse. But when he looked at her, she felt like more. like a warrior worth standing beside. They left the gorge, moving carefully through the forest. Smoke already drifted in the distance where the tribe had set fires to flush them out. Kara's heart pounded. Every crack of a branch felt like an enemy. At last, they reached a clearing near the river. The water glimmered under the sun, a small shield of safety. Daniel stopped, scanning the ground. Here, this is where we hold them. Kara frowned. This place is open. They will surround us. Exactly, Daniel said. They'll expect you to run. But if you stand here, if you show them you are not afraid, they'll hesitate. Fear is stronger than fire. Kara stared at him, then at the river. The thought terrified her, but deep down she knew he was right. Running had only brought more pain. Maybe standing her ground was the only way left. Slowly she nodded. Then I will stand. The hunters arrived first, torches blazing, spears ready. Behind them came warriors with heavier armor, their faces twisted with cruelty. The leader, the one whose spear she had broken, stepped forward. There you are, he spat. The useless giant and her pet human. Kara's muscles tensed, but Daniel stepped forward, his small figure unshaken. Careful, he said coldly. You mocked her before and you saw what happened. The leader laughed. Do you think you can protect her? You're nothing. Kara's voice thundered across the clearing, louder than the river's roar. He is not nothing. He is braver than any of you. The warriors jeered, but their eyes betrayed doubt. Never had the outcast spoken like this. Never had she defended anyone. Daniel's hand brushed her arm. Let them see you, Kara, not their curse. Not their monster. You. Her heart roared with his words. She stepped forward, towering over the warriors. Her golden eyes blazed. I am Kara, she declared. You said I was too big, too cursed, too broken. But I am not your shame. I am not your property. I am free, the tribe faltered. Some warriors shifted uneasily, whispering. They had expected fear, not fire. The leader snarled, raising his weapon. Then you will die free. He lunged forward. But before his blade could strike, Kara's massive arm swung, knocking him to the ground with a single blow. The earth shook where he fell. Gasps rippled through the crowd. No one had ever seen Kara fight back. No one had ever seen her strength unleashed. Daniel's voice rang out, sharp and unyielding. Do you see now? She is stronger than all of you combined. She doesn't need your approval. She doesn't need your chains. Kara stood tall, her chest heaving, her hands steady. For the first time, she felt no shame in her size. For the first time, her body was not a curse, it was her power. The warriors hesitated. Fear spread like fire through their ranks. The leader groaned on the ground, clutching his side. None stepped forward to take his place. Kara raised her voice once more. Leave us, or face me, silence. Then slowly, one by one, the torches lowered. The hunters backed away, dragging their leader with them. Their threats faded into the distance as they retreated into the forest. When the clearing finally quieted, Kara sank to her knees, trembling. The fight was over, but her body shook with the storm of emotions inside her. Daniel knelt beside her, his hand resting on her massive shoulder. You did it. You stood against them. They'll think twice before hunting you again. Tears welled in her golden eyes, spilling down her cheeks. I was not alone, she whispered. You gave me the strength. Daniel smiled softly. No, Kara, you had it all along. I just reminded you. Her breath shuddered, but a smile touched her lips. For the first time, she believed him. For the first time, she believed herself. And as the river flowed beside them, carrying away the echoes of battle, Kara knew one truth. She had chosen to stand, and Daniel had chosen her. The river glimmered in the morning sun, its water carrying away the smoke of the night before. Kara knelt in the clearing, her chest still heaving from the battle. Around her, broken spears and trampled earth marked the struggle that had nearly ended her life. But she was still here, and for the first time in her life she had stood without bowing her head. Daniel stood at her side, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. His voice was quiet but steady. They won't come back soon. You showed them who you really are. Kara lowered her gaze, her golden eyes shimmering with both relief and fear. But they will return one day. My tribe, they do not forgive. They will wait until my guard is low. Then we'll be ready, Daniel said firmly. His words carried no hesitation, no doubt. She looked at him, this small human who had risked everything for her. He had no tribe, no army, no strength of body to match hers. And yet he had given her something no one else ever had. Belief. Her lips trembled. Why do you stay, Daniel? You could leave and live without danger. You could find someone smaller, someone who could give you children." Daniel's eyes softened. He reached for her hand, wrapping his much smaller fingers around hers. "Because I don't want anyone else. I don't need someone smaller. I don't need children to know love. I chose you, Kara. I will keep choosing you." Kara's chest ached. Her heart felt too big, too full. All her life, her size had been a curse. But now, sitting beside Daniel, she felt as if her heart finally had space to beat freely. Days turned into nights, and Kara stayed by Daniel's side. They built a new life together, far from the tribe that had cast her out. She helped him gather wood, her strength carrying what would have taken him hours. He taught her to weave nets for fishing and how to listen for danger in the forest. For the first time, Kara laughed. It was a sound strange to her, deep and rough, but Daniel told her it was beautiful. For the first time, Daniel rested without fear, because he knew she would guard him as fiercely as he guarded her. But the shadow of doubt still lingered in Kara's heart. Late one night, as the fire crackled low, she spoke the fear she had never dared to share. "Daniel, what if I fail you? What if I cannot give you the family humans desire? What if one day you regret choosing me?" Daniel turned to her, his hand finding her cheek. "Kara, listen to me. You are my family, you. If children come, then they come. If they don't, I will still wake each day thankful I chose you." Her eyes filled with tears. This time she didn't hide them. She let them fall because for once they weren't born of shame. They were born of hope. The seasons shifted. Winter winds howled through the trees, but Kara built walls of stone to keep them warm. Spring came with rushing rivers, and Daniel planted seeds that Kara watered with care. With every passing day, their bond grew, stronger than fear, stronger than the voices of her past. And then, one dawn, Kara felt something strange. A warmth deep inside her body, a stirring she had never known. Fear struck her first, but as weeks passed, the truth revealed itself. Her hands shook when she told Daniel. "Daniel, I carry life." His eyes widened, then softened with wonder. He pulled her into his arms without hesitation. "Kara, this is a miracle." Tears ran down her face as she trembled in his embrace. "But they told me." "They said I was too big, too cursed. They said I could never." Daniel silenced her with a gentle smile. "They were wrong. They always were. Kara, you were never broken. You were always more than enough." Her heart burst with a joy she had never imagined. The outcast, the cursed, the one declared unworthy, she was carrying life. Not because of the tribe, not because of their cruel judgment, but because of love. As months passed, Kara grew not only with strength, but with new hope. She no longer walked with her head bowed. She no longer carried shame in her size. She carried life, and she carried Daniel's love. When the tribe heard whispers of her pregnancy, their mockery turned to silence, then fear. The woman they had rejected had become proof that their words were lies. She had found love where they swore none could exist, but Kara didn't return to them. She didn't need their acceptance anymore. Her place was not in their circle of cruelty. Her place was with Daniel, with the life they had created together. On one quiet night, as stars stretched across the sky, Kara sat with Daniel beside the fire. His hand rested on her stomach where life moved gently beneath her skin. She looked down at him, her voice low but filled with strength. "All my life I thought I was too big for love. But you held me, Daniel. You saw me, and now I am not cursed. I am blessed." Daniel smiled, his eyes shining with pride. "No, Kara, we are blessed. And this is only the beginning." The fire burned bright, the stars watched above, and Kara knew with certainty that the universe had never made a mistake with her body. It had made her strong enough to carry a human's love, strong enough to carry life, strong enough to stand against the world. The giant who once wept in the shadows was gone. In her place stood Kara, mother, warrior, beloved, and she would never be alone again.